Um, it was, I think I always enjoy it.
Hmm.
Yeah. I feel like this year was very focused on it wasn't as diverse in terms of the topics.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm not sure why that was. Maybe like the way they wrote the call for proposals,
Hmm. Hmm.
or maybe how they selected them.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, I enjoyed it. I think we are live now.
Yeah.
So let me let people into the waiting room. I think uh
Oh, oh, this young lady.
greetings, Jafari. And
Greetings.
hey.
Greetings. Greetings.
All right. Welcome, everyone. So this is Wellness Warriors, and today we're talking about healing ancestral trauma. I have Dr. Johnson and Anura here with me, joining me today. So I'm actually going to have you guys introduce yourselves, and please just like give us information about not just your background, but what we're doing and how people can connect with you if they're interested in connecting with you. So Dr. Johnson, can you start?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and begin. I'm Dr. Oliver Johnson. I am from Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I'm currently residing. Been here for the last 20 years. Um, I have the distinction and pleasure of having retired from Fayetteville State University last July after 20 years of serving as a tenured full professor there. I loved what I did. I thought I was frankly good at it, but it was time to say goodbye. And in fact, Keisha, I referenced that during my workshop. I was pleased too, by the way, that you were able to attend my workshop.
Oh, I
Um,
definitely prioritize it.
yeah,
And I'm glad I did. I'm
yeah,
gonna be honest, I don't think I would have selected that workshop if you weren't doing it.
yeah.
Um, I don't know why,
Hmm.
because it was really good and it's actually was so beneficial to the work that I'm doing, but I don't know. Um, I didn't know that it would be.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
times there's things that I need and I don't know that I need it. And that
yeah.
was one of those things. It was what I needed, but I didn't realize I needed it. Um,
Well, I think that you were meant to be there.
yeah.
So in addition to having retired last year as a professor, I currently have a part-time private practice in counseling and supervision here in Fayetteville. Um, so I'm just enjoying my life.
Okay, okay. Um, and I think we will, if you can post your contact information. I don't know what you prefer, if it's through LinkedIn or a website or email. So that way, if people do want to connect with you, they may be in North Carolina and need some services or may want to refer someone and
Okay.
we could share that. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay. And Anu, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, greetings all. Jafari, I believe I know you from somewhere. You in Atlanta, Georgia area.
Yes, yes, yes. I knew. It's good to see you.
Good to see you also. It's been a while.
Give
It's been a while.
thanks. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm originally from New York, grew up in Brooklyn, moved around a little bit. I'm gonna go straight to the medical field. I went to the Navy, went to the medical field in the Navy, got out, worked in hospitals, and got kind of just enchanted with that, burnt out with that, working in hospitals. So I drove up. My father, he was in driving trucks commercially. So I went to that for like 20 years. But while I would drove 20 years driving 18 wheelers, I always took like many courses in yoga, Reiki. It's always something holistic healing.
Mhm.
Cause that's what that's what I love really doing. That was my love. I just drove truck to pay the bills. So after I retired from trucking a few years ago, and all the time I was trying to get my holistic health business off the ground. It never really got established. I just did a little bit here and there, attended some retreats and conferences. but that's what I'm actually trying to do now. So I'm like I do yoga, Reiki, I'm into like energy healing, qigong. I'm studying new stuff like Ayurvedic medicine, and that's pretty much. I'm not gonna go too much into it. That's pretty much what I like to do. That's where I'm at.
Okay, great. Great. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Keisha Cox. I'm the founder of the Wellness Connection. And we have a integrative wellness practice that is based, it's virtual, but in terms of therapy, we're licensed in New York, Delaware, and Connecticut. And we integrate different healing modalities such as yoga, meditation, um, Reiki into mental health treatment to balance mind, body, and spirit. So is anybody, well, we have a few people on the call, so since it's a few of us, let's go through introductions. You want to start, Sister Jafari?
Yes, greetings, family. My name is Jafari Nyabingi. I'm located in the Atlanta area. I am, I don't know where to get started, sis, but I'll say this. So, I am a mental health clinician that specializes in addiction, that has also studied holistic health for maybe over 30 years. I'm a Reiki master practitioner. Um, oh, goodness. A lot of different certifications and letters behind my name. But I'll say this um, uh, I, I'm a sacred woman practitioner as well. My main love is holistic health. And I love to connect that with mental health and addiction. And sometimes it's challenging for mental health clinicians and practitioners to have our own circles. So when I saw this, I was excited because, we need our own spaces sometimes, our own sacred spaces. So I was glad to participate and be a part, or just learn, because I'm here to learn. So give thanks and praise. And with that, I'm complete.
Thank you. Is anybody else? We have Zuri and we have Kishana. Hey, Kishana. Does anybody else want to introduce themselves?
Hello, I am Zuri. Let me try to do this. Um, I'm just a student, and I saw, I saw you on Eventbrite, and I don't specialize in anything as far as holistic, medicines or any of that, but I've been into it for many years and just trying to learn all that I could learn to be the best to be whole, basically.
Yeah. We're all students. When you said that, that resonated with
Mhm.
me. We're all students, and I think most of us who are practitioners are because we're students and we
Mhm.
practice based on our level of learning, right? And what we've
Mhm.
incorporated and sharing what we've incorporated in our
Yeah,
lives. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Sister Keyshawn, are you able to speak into the call? I know you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're in a place where you can. Hello. Greeting.
Greetings of peace. Yes, I'm a student as well. So once I saw this come up, I said, let me get on this call and have impeccable listening. And I give thanks and praise for the invite and for being able to come in and happy to see you all.
Yeah, it's glad to see you here.
Greetings,
Thank you.
Kishana.
Greetings of peace. My Jafara. Greetings of
Yes,
peace.
give
I'm
thanks
happy
and
to see
praise. Good
everyone.
to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm trying to manage the live on Facebook as well. So if I'm not looking at the cameras because I'm checking for questions and things online. So let's start with the questions and the discussion. Um, what does ancestral trauma mean to you, and how does it show up in the communities that you serve? Um, and either one of you can start. Dr. Johnson, Anu, whoever's.
I said Johnson.
Well, It's my pleasure to go ahead and get started here. In fact, my initial response actually relates to the workshop that I did last Friday in Detroit at the National Association of Black Social Workers Conference. My topic that morning had to do with Black male suicide prevention. And I had said to my audience that I had had the privilege of having conducted that workshop for a number of years at that workshop or at that conference, as well as other places too. But this year, I decided to take a significant risk. Um, I had never, in all of the years I had done that workshop, really focused on me. Um, and that's important because, again, as I said to my audience, there's a reason why we tend to gravitate towards certain topics in this field. And I had never made the connection between my own traumatic childhood and my fascination with black male suicide. So I began to share bits and pieces of my own journey, which coalesced around why I was so struck with this topic of black male suicide, beginning with my mom. Um, I used to teach at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And um, here's the real short version. My mom, who was living in California at the time, decided to visit my family and I in Michigan. And she had never visited me before, since my departure from home at age 17. And she was not the nicest person in the world. She was an alcoholic, whole 9 yards. But for some reason, she decided to come out and visit, and she visited the class I was teaching that morning at U of M. And she commended me on the job that I did with those students. And unbeknownst to me, she kept a journal for a number of years. And on this particular occasion, she recorded in her journal her experience in my class that morning, unbeknownst to me. Um, I had no idea that she was keeping a journal, nor did I know that she had kept a diary entry of her visit to my class. And this was May of 1998. And in her journal entry, she said, Junior, that's what she called me. Junior did a good job. Um, the students tended to like him, and I'm going to pray that this leads to other teaching opportunities. And mind you, I had never seen the entry because she passed away in 2022 at the age of 87. My brother discovered her journal and he shared her journal with me, and I was flabbergasted at what I read. Um, so, again, as I said to my audience that morning, I taught at FSU for 20 years because my mom prayed for me. That's why I was there. But I also said, too, that my mom really wasn't a mother to me, um, which I think uh, maybe led to some unconscious suicidal ideation on my part over the years, which eventually coalesced into my interest in black male suicide. So, with respect to the question, I am absolutely convinced that the reason why this topic rivets me so much has something to do with my own background, which I'm just now getting in touch with. Um, so maybe that's a good way to start. I should also say too, before I yield the floor, that it's not unusual for we as Black people to have layers upon layers of untold trauma in our respective family histories that we know nothing about. Um, so, as I continue my journey of discovery, I would not be surprised at all that suicide is in my family of origin.
Thank you for sharing that. The last piece that you added on was actually, I heard it before you specifically said it, right? The layers of trauma and how um, it's so much a part of who we are sometimes that we don't even realize that it's there.
Yeah.
And we're trying to function within this trauma. Yeah. Yeah. I know what are you thinking in terms of ancestral trauma and what it means to you?
Okay, I'm a student of I would say our story. I go back to ancient history, and if you want to call it that. And it seemed like people of dark pigment, we was always victims of some, like, again, I would say the trauma.
Mhm.
So I'm going back to because I study like I'm in Kemet, I'm in the Moors, India, and it seemed like everybody, all the people associated with, like, again, with the dark pigment, it's like we had that trauma. But with that in mind, we carried that forth into was like today's generation. You know what I'm saying? Even I'm gonna go back to an instance in my family. Like growing up in Brooklyn, it was my two brothers, my mother, and myself. That was our family unit. And my father, he was doing good. He's doing good, providing for the family. Then after a while, he kind of like was in the street, and he kind of drifted away. Eventually, being quick about it, him and my mother, they separated. But like, when I have conversations with my mother, I said, look, I said, back in the day, I'm talking about like strictly black men right now. We had it real bad. I mean, if you wanted to fight back for your family, your friends, whatever, they'd take you out. So you would not be living anymore. So I mean, even if you wanted to fight back, I mean, with the people, I mean, they had some black men that fought back, the Nat Turners and those. They fought, to say their families or their friends or whatever. But at most times we could not fight, so we had to keep all that bottled in. I'm talking
Mm,
about black men, black women also. We had to keep all that bottled up and bottled in. So an outlet, let's say, like, we had to, some of the men, they took it out on their women's, their wives, or their female companions. So that carried on from years and years, from way back, way back when. So that's what I kind of see, and I kind of explained that to my mother. I said, like, I had a conversation with my father, and she tells me all the things he did wrong. I said, well, look, ma, he grew up in that era, this and that, and I think my mother, she's in her 90s now, but my father's no longer with us. But I guess he probably would be there in his 90s also. So I said he cannot really express himself like he wanted to back then. Even like seeking employment and this and that, it was always stacked against us. We always had to battle some type of to go forward, or to advance, you know, even to get like acquire property or whatever. But that's the the genetic lineage that I would say kind of like caused us a lot of suffrage, and as it's carrying on today. Like the youngsters today, I don't understand why. Well, I guess some of them they really see it. I'm talking about like the youngsters. I would say in their 30s, 40s, even probably in their 20s. These hip hop artists, they put it in their music. Some of them writing books about it. So I mean, that's good. That's kind of like breaking that scenario of that trauma that we've been through, but it's so embedded in us. It's deep embedded in us. It's gonna take a lot to get it out. So you know what I'm saying? We working on it. Some of us is we kind of get it, but a lot of us we still, I'm still trying to figure a lot of things myself.
yeah.
But that's kind of what I see. That's what's causing like a lot of our problems today.
Right, right. Well, we're constantly learning, and I feel like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know that I need to learn.
It's a
So
lot,
it's
a lot.
continuous. And I think part of the issue, as you guys have both alluded to, is that we're not even aware of some of this trauma and how it's impacting us, you know. It comes a part of our way of life and our way of functioning, and we're functioning in this trauma and don't even realize it sometimes.
That's right.
So the next question I would have is how is it showing up? How is it surfacing? What do we see as evidence of this trauma in our communities or in ourselves?
Anybody or
Yeah, well, you can start.
okay,
I like to do a ping pong kind of thing. So, um, it's your turn to start.
okay. I'll say showing up. Substance abuse. People they drinking. It might be some type of drug. We kind of like sedating that trauma that's feeling that's in us. That's we like I said, if you don't want to let it out or have an outlet, you just sedate it. You put it you keeping it in, but you just don't want to like really let it out. So I would say sedation. That's a big problem right now.
Mhm.
And I don't know if a lot of people recognize it, but I really kind of see. Even though like at one point, I mean, I smoked reefer back in the day and drink, but I really don't. Excuse me, I don't drink that. I don't do that anymore. I don't think I did it recreationally. I just did it, for fun. But I really don't. I don't think I suppressed anything. But yeah, I think a lot of people they do that, with the substance abuse, and they suppressing things.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's
And
self-medicated.
if I could expand upon what Brother Anu said, I am currently reading an excellent book entitled The Ancestral Trauma Project.
Mm.
Um, it is by Anne Rossmiller. This book has not gotten a lot of attention, but it is uh, absolutely gripping. And I'd like to read several short paragraphs from this book that relate to the question, Keisha, that you just raised.
Did you say Anne Ross Miller?
Um, Rice Miller,
Rice Miller.
she spells it Rismiller. Again, it's entitled The Ancestral Trauma Project.
Okay.
This was published, I believe, in 2019.
Thank
And
you.
um, the first paragraph I'd like to read, um, reclaiming accountability. She says, approach symptoms with curiosity rather than judgment. What messages are you trying to convey? Secondly, provide yourself with unconditional care. Rest, hydrate, and engage in moments of stillness. Thirdly, transform your inner dialogue from criticism to compassion. I'm listening now. You don't have to create more pain to get my attention. And then lastly, allow space to feel, release, and integrate. Sometimes the body craves room to breathe, stretch, and be felt. Um,
Mm.
I had the occasion, and I'm going to use this phrase again. I shared this at my workshop last Friday. I had the experience, the pleasant experience of speaking with Keisha before the workshop about linking up somehow with the wellness warriors. Um, what I didn't disclose to her the morning that we interviewed was that I was in enormous physical pain, um, that I wasn't ready at that time to share with her. I was able to get through the interview, um, but the fact that I had to put on that quote performance is one of the ways that we deal with emotional pain, trauma, etc. I know precisely why I was in pain that day, but I just wasn't in a place where I could share that openly with Keisha. Um, so, with respect to how trauma shows up, um, one ways that trauma shows up is we mask it, we suppress it,
Right.
we pretend. we put on a mask. And I'm referring to black men and black women. Um, with respect to black women, there is this ethos or this expectation that black women are strong. They always have to be invulnerable, etc. The Rock of Gibraltar, etc. Um, the angry black woman, etc., etc., etc. And then with respect to black men, um, be masculine, be strong, be invulnerable. And I got caught up in that morning in my talk with Keisha. Um, so um, being able to integrate some of the things I just read from this book has proven really helpful for me. And then, secondly, I want to share this with y'all too. There's a second book that I'm reading. Please take this down. It's entitled My Grandmother's Hands. My
Mhm.
Grandmother's Hands. The subtitle is, get this, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies. Um, I can't put this book down. Um, and I would really, really recommend that y'all get your hands on both of these books.
Who's the author of that book?
The author of this book is Reshima. She spells it Resmaa. Last name is Mekaya. She spells it Menakem. This book, get this, reached the New York Times bestseller list. But still, not a lot of people have even heard about these two books.
Mhm.
Um, uh, uh, and again, what's special about both of these texts is that they focus s- specifically on trauma and we as Black folk, and how we can better navigate our way through some of the morass that we find ourselves in.
Thank you for that. Um, I know one of the more well-known books is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by
Yeah,
Dr. Joy DeGruy.
yeah,
And that was an eye-opener for me a few years ago in terms of our day-to-day habits that are affected by this trauma. Not even, the more, I guess, overt things like addiction, and suicide, but our even our thoughts in terms of how we approach education or our health. That was a big thing that came up in your workshop, like the slow suicide and how us not caring for ourselves is a form of suicide
mm-hmm.
and can be a result of trauma and years of not even years, generations of conditioning.
Yeah.
Um,
And
um,
just to piggyback on that too, Keisha, let me just read this too. This is from the Ancestral Trauma Project. Um, she says, often what surfaces isn't solely ours. These triggers may mirror grief, fear, or repressed anger that belongs to our ancestors, carried forward as unresolved echoes. When they rise within us, we are not only addressing our own pain, we are attending to the lineage that
Sorry,
set
there
us
was
to
an
the
accident.
task of letting go. Pain acts as a messenger in the absence of words. It remains until its truth is felt. When you turn toward it, the body reveals what is surfacing, what needs to be felt, what is rising into awareness, and what emotions need to be released.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it brought me to my knees.
Yeah. I want to add, and this is maybe not directly related, that there was a question that you brought to me, Dr. Johnson, about the upcoming retreat in Ghana and why there were only women. And I said, I put a call out and
Yeah.
the response is overwhelmingly female. And I would we actually had noted, like we want to have a balance,
Hmm.
but it's tough. And I was very intentional about having the two of you as males on and thinking about it because I feel like, the men because of the trauma, I think are not comfortable with the vulnerability and coming forth and this idea of what masculine, oh, the word is not coming out, being masculine is supposed to look like, right? And asking for help and going to therapy is usually not part of it, or even talking about this trauma, so. I've acknowledged in the past that, I say like black men are like unicorns in this field, and we need more representation so that it's normalized and men are comfortable coming forward. And myself as a woman, it's tough for me to do that because I'm not a man. But I am thinking about these spaces and being more intentional. When I say inclusive, I think I have to do the work to seek the men out
Hmm.
and pull them in if they're not coming forth. So that is exactly what I'm being intentional about doing now. Because not only you, but other people have asked when men are wanting to join the spaces, they're like, well, it's all women here. I'm the only man. And that also is off-putting. So,
Yeah.
um, and I think that does, link to the ancestral trauma and just thinking about what men had to endure. I'm not even going back years and years, but just in this country and with slavery and how men were ripped away from families. And like, I can't even imagine like what impact that has on a person, but we see it day to day. And it's, I think, has long lasting effect on how our families are now, the Black families and the troubles that we have. I mean, we weren't allowed to have families for so long. And now we're questioning why there's dysfunction within not all, but a lot of Black families.
Yeah, yeah. And there's another piece to this too. And this is not just directed at you, Keisha, but to the entire audience. I believe that we do not meet people by accident or coincidence or happenstance. Okay, we meet them because we are somehow supposed to be meeting them. So to me, it's no coincidence that, for example, you and I met. Um, I'm glad to hear that you have tried to be intentional with respect to including men on the upcoming trip to Ghana. If there's any way that I could be a part of the process, it might be too late now, but the very fact that we are conversing, to me, that means something.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, definitely. And actually, both of you gentlemen reached out to me within days. And again, 90% of the people that I work with professionally in terms of colleagues and clients are female.
Mm.
So the fact that both of you appeared in my life at the same time,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
felt like was a message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but matter of fact, let me say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask if you wanted to add anything.
Oh yeah, I attended a couple of retreats, and like you said, the majority was, if not all, were women, were sisters, black women. I think about three or four, maybe five retreats, and I was there doing reflexology, like massaging their feet and Reiki, and like I said, it was just women. I think with the men, we like to maintain such a strong exterior. We don't want to be seen to be as weak. I guess like attending something like that, it may seem they might think is, well, my wife or my mate might think I'm weak because I'm seeking some type of medical whatever holistic modality. So I guess they see that as being weak. But I think more and more, I think more because they not getting good results in the current medical field. Some of them are seeking more holistic modalities.
Hmm.
So I think, and that's a good thing. And I'm kind of glad I'm in the space where I'm at. I could pass that on to some of the brothers.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely need you.
Yeah.
So what role does storytelling, family history, or silence play in either healing or perpetuating trauma? I know we touched on this a little bit, but if we can just go more in depth, I think Dr. Johnson, it's your turn.
Yeah, with respect to the importance of storytelling, no no person can can underemphasize the importance or the primacy of telling one's story, especially with respect to the fact that we are a people steeped in the oral tradition as African people. Um, what we've done, though, although we are a people steeped in the oral tradition, we have been westernized into this belief that our stories are individualistic. It's our stuff. We can compartmentalize stuff. And frankly, some stuff is too private to be shared. Um, we have to relinquish that. Um, I believe that the ancestors show up and honor us when we become honest and candid enough to share the nitty gritty pieces of our story. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I made the deliberate decision at my workshop to finally begin to let some of the walls down. And I said, I didn't want just an academic presentation, a sterile presentation. I was going to share bits and pieces of my own story. And the response was absolutely remarkable. People came up to me, Dr. Johnson, wow, this is the best workshop that I've been to. Um, really appreciated your decision to share your story, blah, 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 blah. What some of those folks didn't realize is that um, unconsciously, the fact that I made that decision resonated with their own spirit. That's what we as Black people do. Um, it's one of the reasons why I also kept referencing the movie Sinners. Um, uh, uh, Sinners is powerful in large part because it tells unvarnished stories about us. No sugarcoating, um, no sidestepping. Um, so yeah, in order to facilitate healing and recovery from trauma, it's essential, absolutely essential, that we become willing and able to really tell um, not just our stories in a general sense, but that we share the real story. The stuff that, frankly, may be temporarily dismantling to share. Um, the paradox is, and all of us know this, when we tell our story, um, that's when the healing process really begins to manifest itself, when it begins to flow. Um, it becomes impeded if we sidestep or we try to domesticate or sanitize our stories.
Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing your story. I think it definitely, I didn't know what the workshop was like before, but I know experiencing it on Friday, it definitely um helped bring it home. I think um I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but I think all aspects of it, like you sharing your story, you
Mhm.
having things that people could relate to, like the movie Sinners and the music.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and just having music because music, by itself is speaks, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yes.
Okay, let me add. Yeah, we had to do the storytelling because back in the day, I'm going back in the day, we had to disguise our potential or this and that. We couldn't just come out straight and say, "Look, you know, I'm from Kemet, and we up at, way back in then we was large and in charge. We was doing this, and even the creators like the carvers and the people that created things for our benefits. We had to tell it like in stories to kind of get that message across, so it go be more subliminal to because we was always under surveillance. Yeah, to make a subliminal, whereas oh yeah, yeah, where we can recognize it and still get that message across. But I think that's more or less the story. And I don't always get with the storytelling. Also, I guess I gotta really hear it a few times for really I can get it. But I think that was the main reason because the storytelling. We had to really be undercover about how we get our message across to our people.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can add something else to the truth of what Brother Ano said, it's not only simply telling one's real story, um, but we all know as clinicians too that stories can become intellectualized and detached. We have to be willing, as healers of trauma, uh, to combine somatic experiences or body work. Um, so I'd like to share a few pieces again. This is from my grandmother's hands. Um, she says this: activities that can help harmonize your body with other African American bodies and help you all heal include singing together, group drumming, rhythmic group clapping, humming in sync with others, brief, secure, caring touches, braiding or combing each other's hair, cooking together, hugging people mindfully, crying or wailing together in times of grief, tragedy, or death. One way to begin to mend your heart is to observe yourself carefully and notice when and how white body supremacy operates within you. In particular, be alert for traumatic retentions and the reflective urge to make white people feel safe and comfortable. And then she goes on and on and on. What she's saying here, in essence, is that we have to become willing to combine storytelling with substantive body work. Um, so, Keisha, for example, you and Sister Jafia, I heard you make reference to your emphasis on working with the body. Um, Combining body work with storytelling is real powerful. And in fact, one could argue that if it's just storytelling, the healing is probably going to be incomplete. But if you combine um, mindful body work with storytelling, watch out. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So what other ancestral, I'm gonna say grounding practices or culturally grounding practices or ways to connect to our ancestral lineage can we incorporate to in our healing process? Um,
Hmm. Um, if I could take a stab at that one too,
Yeah.
it's um, not to sound overly simplistic, but if you buy into the notion that our ancestors are always with us anyway, even if we aren't consciously aware of their presence, we could simply ask them.
mhm.
You know,
Right.
ask them. I I need wisdom as I contemplate this decision in my life. I need your guidance. I need to feel your presence. Um, and almost always, I'm going to say it, they show up.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And as
Yeah.
you say that, a lot of the practices, and I don't want to like minimize it, but that is the root of the foundation of a lot of the practices, be it Reiki or yoga or meditation,
Yeah.
is creating a space where you can hear,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And be able to receive.
Hmm.
Yeah. Brother, no, what do you have to ask? I know you are are a practitioner, a teacher of a lot of the body work or the somatic practices. So,
Yes, Dr. Johnson brought a good point. I definitely agree. Our ancestors is always there, all the time. All you gotta do is ask, and they will answer you. They will answer you. Even like okay, with me, I do a lot of work around my house. I do the DIY. I work on my house. Little things I can figure out. Some things I can't figure out. But my grandfather, he was always like he's my mother's from South Carolina, but he actually built their house in South Carolina back in the day. So sometimes I'm like, Grandpa, how can I do this? I got to fix that. And somehow it comes to me. Boom, there it is. So what you say, you right on point with that, Dr. Johnson. That is definitely real. We
Yeah,
got to talk to our ancestors. We got to communicate with them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and if I could even bring in some biblical wisdom here, um, somewhere in the book of Hebrews, the writer makes reference to the fact that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. And what he or she was referring to was the presence of our ancestors. They are watching us, they are caring for us. Um, they are real spirits. Um, I'm fairly certain that all of us have had the experience of actually hearing the voice of somebody who wasn't present. And you become convinced, hey, something just happened here that's uniquely spiritual. It's an ancestor, and I need to pay attention to this. Okay.
Mhm. They want us to wake up
Yeah, yeah,
in a deep sleep.
yeah.
so I have a final question for the two of you, and I just want to open it up for everyone else, time willing to ask questions or even reflect and share their views. So the last question I have is why is it important to view healing as a collective and not just an individual process? And what does collective healing look like? So it's actually two questions, but one.
Wow, that's an excellent question, Keisha. Um, I go back again to our Afrocentricity, who we are as African people. We as African people, we have a natural bent toward collectivism anyway. Um, it's only as we have become westernized, I'll say this again, it's only as we have become westernized that we've bought into the myth of individualism, compartmentalization, separatism. Um, so I would contend that the best healing also combines not just story work and somatic experiences, but also within the context of an emphasis on collectivism, doing it together. To be more specific, there is enormous potential in being able to tell one story within the context of a group. Yes, I said that. Not just you and your therapist, but can you imagine being willing and able to tell your story in a group of like minded people and how much energy is released by virtue of the collectivism that's present in that room? Um, so I think it's fair to say that because we are African people, that most of our approaches should be oriented towards some sense of collectivism. Um, for the points I raised earlier from my grandmother's hands, some of the things she says about um, stuff like cooking together, braiding one another's hair, um, or you're doing something in conjunction with somebody. You're humming, you're dancing, you're moving in sync. with another body. That speaks to the essence of who we are as Black folk.
Yeah. And as you say that, like I feel something viscerally in the images and the feelings that come up when you mention things like cooking together
Mhm.
and braiding the hair. It's just such a powerful feeling that's like emerging within me. And I think that's probably I might ruffle some feathers, but probably more valuable for most people than what happens in a therapeutic setting. This is like life. This is part of your life. This is your day-to-day practice. And if it's part of your day-to-day practice, then it has so much value and so much the healing. That's where the healing's done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Go ahead, Brother Amanifo.
Okay. Yeah, everything you said again, you on point. I would say us being in a supportive environment where we could have shared experiences, personal stories. And I would suggest probably have things in common because we could be combative. We a lot of times we don't agree, so then we so busy saying your way's right, my way's wrong, and then, just find things that you have in common or people you have in common. We could have shared experiences, personal stories, where some might have overcame some things, some still need to be working on things, and then you can just bounce ideas off each other, and it's helping the group. So I think, yeah, I would say the shared experiences and supportive environment. That's that's what we need.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask or add? Please feel free to.
Give thanks. I was waiting on you, Sister Keisha, to say. And then at the same time, I was so engrossed in the conversation. It's so wonderful. Thank you, sister, for putting this together. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your additions, and you as well, Brother Anu. I like what Dr. Johnson spoke about the singing together. It stands out. When I grew up in Detroit, I grew up with a brother and sister. It was just the three of us, and our parents were getting a divorce at the time. I was probably about 13. And I remember all we would do is go in our room and have singing sessions. Now, so some of these practices are probably in our DNA. We just know to do them. And so we would sing, we would sing Motown hits, we would sing the dramatic songs, and my brother, he had the falsetto. So we'd say, hit it, Ron, hit it, Ron. And we'd bust out laughing. And I think that was our way of healing with each other, what our parents and what our family was going through at the time. And then later on, as I went through my own divorce, and my children, I have 4 adult children now. We used to do that same kind of thing, sing songs. They weren't always the best songs. I remember singing thong song, and we running around the house, and my kids are like, dumps like a truck, 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 truck. And I'm like, yes! It was our way of just releasing and getting some of that energy out. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. We could have a whole nother segment on music and the healing within music, right?
I have something else to share too, which um, reinforces and illustrates what Sister Jafia just
Jafar.
said. Yeah. Um, at my workshop, I did mention that there was a time where I wondered, was I going to be able to do the workshop? Because I was still dealing with some degree of pain. But I noticed that as I got into the flow of the workshop, the pain that I was feeling
Mhm,
literally evaporated.
mhm,
Yes, I said that. The pain evaporated in part because I felt I was in the presence of a group of loving, supportive Black folk,
mhm. Ashe.
which again speaks of collectivism. Um, I didn't have to, and I actually thought about this. In order to get through this workshop today, I'm going to have to take pain medication.
Mm,
but but I didn't have to, um, because I was in the presence of a supportive community.
yeah. Thanks.
Oh, can I say something real quick about the music?
Of course.
Okay, I'm a student from the '60s, so young lady when she mentioned like some of the groups of '60s, Temptations, Supremes, and Michael Jackson when he was with Jackson Five, Stevie Wonder. I grew up in that music, and that
Mhm.
music was healing within itself. I mean, it was feel good. The feel good endorphins was, family, friends. I mean, we was rocking back in the days. That's kind of took, when she mentioned that. That kind of took me back to that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed.
That's
Mhm.
actually one of the things to the clients that I work with when they're battling with depression or just feeling low is for them to create a feel good playlist. I actually call it a feel good playlist.
Right,
So when you are in those times, you just play it, and it doesn't solve your problems, but music, the vibration, the messaging, there's so
right,
many different aspects of it that is healing. And I think, and again, not to minimize, it's not going to solve your problems, but like if I put on some Stevie Wonder, parts of my body are going to be moving involuntarily without even me even knowing. So it's sort of almost a passive way of healing, like just playing that music and being in that and what it triggers with you, somatically.
right.
Um, I would like to say, first of all, thank you all, Brother Anu, Dr. Johnson, and Sister Keisha. I am a musician. And it's funny that you mentioned Motown because just I went to an event with a friend of mine. Actually, it's two events. One, a person that went to the church that I went to was Barry Gordy's personal secretary from the time Motown opened, even after he, sold the business. So speaking of Stevie Wonder, he was there and he did sing.
Mm,
And the repast was all Motown songs. So I went to this event with my friend a couple of weeks ago. It was an outdoor event, and they were switching from Motown to salsa because they were salsa dancing. And she and I, we're from Chicago, so we were like reminiscing, about the things that happened, and when this song came on, girl, this girl, that, and whatever. And so the next morning, I wrote a song. And it's called Motown Songs. And some of what you said is in the lyrics because music is healing and music because I'm a writer, and it just that's always been my therapy. I've written a couple of books too, but music has been my therapy, lyrics, and I thank the creator every day because it flows and it's not me. It's coming from that source. And I'm just grateful for it. And that's kind of like my release for the things that I deal with. And because I could write about anything and make it a song,
Yeah,
and
thanks.
I'm just grateful for that.
yeah.
Thanks.
And just to reinforce what you said, sister, um, th- there is there is no doubt that music alters brain chemistry. Um, let me offer y'all a suggestion, which is going to reinforce what I just said. Um, Mahalia Jackson. Okay, we all know who she is. Okay, I guarantee you that if you listen to her rendition of Precious Lord, Big
Hmm.
Man, that song will do something to your body.
Yeah.
The way that Mahalia Jackson approaches that song, the depth of emotion, I guarantee you tears will come to your eyes.
Well, she sang at my grandmother's funeral, by the way.
Mhm.
Her and my mother, my grandmother, who I never met, was friends.
Mhm.
Yes, well, there's frequencies, because
Right.
There's healing frequencies and vibrations,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
music. So
Hmm.
you could put on YouTube right now, just say, something for the heart, something for
Hmm.
relaxation or whatever it is. There are those frequencies that can put you in that space and place to, provide, assist in, the healing process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Real quick, yeah, like you said, would you mention the frequencies? Like they go back to, well, I say two. I'm gonna bring up two frequencies. Is the 432 and the 528.
28, yes.
Those are the good frequencies. Generates the good endorphins in us. Now they came up
Hmm.
so many things synthetic these days. Came up with the
Hmm.
440 instead of the 428. And the
Hmm.
440 is
Hmm.
kind of like keeping us off balance, kind of like
Yeah.
disrupting, like what you naturally trying to create.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, because I have some tuning forks. My daughter, I had gotten some, my daughter got me some. I'm like, oh, so you aware of this? So yeah, yeah, it can be powerful.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I tune the forks also.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
same.
Okay.
Same. And sound bowls as well. Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything or have any questions before we close?
I just want to say thank you all. This has been very enlightening and just a beautiful way to spend a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
all of you. So I like to close out with maybe a sentence or a word, like takeaway. If it could be something that resonates with you or something that you want to share with in terms of advice. Just a quick sentence or word. Um, I'll give you a second to think about it. So I would like to close with just saying that you know, there's power in remembering, and I think as it was said that the ancestors are with us, and just being open to receiving whatever messages they're giving us.
Yeah. I'd like to close with this. The wisdom of our ancestors can reveal to us whether or not the trauma that we are feeling is ours or does it stretch back to generations. If it stretches back to generations, then it's incumbent upon us to pay attention. Um, so, for instance, I go back again to last Friday. I mentioned that there are untold numbers of we as Black people who have family members who were lynched back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, etc. And those horrific acts still are unacknowledged. Um, what power there would be if there was acknowledgement. Um, we would be liberated, and the spirits of our ancestors would also experience a level of freedom too. Yes, I said that.
Mm, beautiful. I actually have an ancestors altar, and my words would be call on them. They're closer than we think.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Any-
Oh, oh, me?
I was about to say anyone else, but I saw you. I thought you were about to speak.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. What I would suggest, we need to probably get a good frequency, good vibes going. And I suggest to do that. Meditation, qigong, yoga, communing with nature. Just put, like they say, put your feet in the dirt.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ground.
Hmm.
That the simplest thing you could do that. Hopefully, you go in your backyard has not been fertilized. I would not suggest that. It's some good clean dirt, and you gonna be good.
That's what you
I
said. Good,
actually
good,
ended up
clean dirt.
I
No
actually
fertilizer,
ended up
please.
getting a grounding pad because unfortunately, where I live, I can't just go out there, and well, you already know the environment.
Yeah, yeah, they doing a number on us.
Yes, yes, pesticides. Herbicides, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's dirty dirt.
Yeah.
Sister Jafari, I think you were you about to speak? I saw you unmute.
Yes, I just wanted to just say I'm in gratitude right now for connection and alignment and just remembering that we are our ancestors. They are us. They're in our DNA. They are us. And so even every time we turn inward, they're there. And just I think Dr. Johnson said earlier, we don't come in these spaces by happenstance. We're here purposefully.
Hmm.
And, it's just wonderful to be in this space with you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. On Facebook, my sister Camilla, she had chimed in when we spoke about the music, and she said, "Yeah, let's do this in terms of having a session about music." And I didn't remember, at least not consciously. So as we're closing, I'm like, let me announce next month's topic. And that is joy is medicine.
Mm.
Um, creating space for play, pleasure, and laughter. So even though I had said jokingly, like, we need to do another segment about music, that's actually part of the plan, which I didn't actually consciously remember. So
Yeah.
how aligned are we? Yeah. Well, I do want to thank you all for showing up. I always say I appreciate you entrusting me and showing up here on my platform, but also for showing up for yourselves because a lot of times we don't take time to reflect and think about our place in this universe and how to be intentional about it. So thank you again. Hopefully, I will see you all soon in other spaces, but also next month when we discuss this topic. But I definitely appreciate all of you
Give
and hope you have the
thanks.
rest of
Thank
the
you.
day. Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Give
Pleasure being
thanks.
Keisha,
everybody.
Powerful.
All
Thank you.
Keisha,
right.
we may be related somewhere along the line, ancestrally, because I have Cox in my family.
Okay, okay. I'm
Yeah,
sure we probably
and
are.
you're looking like one of my cousins named Venus. Never
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Shay.
Well, peace and blessings, everyone. Sister Kishana, were you going to speak?
I just said give thanks. This was a very powerful call.
Mhm.
I connected so much with it, and I'm grateful that I even came in. Thank you for this platform. Thank you all for all the medicine and all that you've poured in. I've received, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give
I'm always
thanks.
grateful to you all, and especially you, Sister Kishana. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but you're on my mind and in my heart every day.
Same here. Same here. Thank you so much.
Do you send
I love
out emails as a reminder?
There will
Or
be emails, yeah, and once you
okay,
sign up, I believe you're on the email list. So
okay,
so
great.
the next time I post, you will get an email about what's coming next. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Love,
Okay.
peace, and blessings all.
Peace and
Peace
blessings,
and love.
everyone.
Peace and blessings.